open Astah, head into File, New. From Diagram, choose ER Diagram. From the ER Diagram toolbox, use entities to create your dimensions and your fact table. And of course, your dimensions and your fact are derived from the 4-step dimensional design approach that you just followed. So let's do fact first. So we have a fact cell here. We can add attributes to that. So for example, we might want to have quantity on there, and I'm just going to use abbreviations because it's quicker for me. Maybe also amount. Then we go back and use the entities diagramming option to create the dimension tables. Let's do dim product here. And of course, dim product, that needs the key, and we'll return to the key on the fact sales table later. So we start by adding a primary key, and the primary key, depending on the naming conventions in the source system, that might have the business key product ID. We can also add several attributes to this. So let's do product name, for example. Maybe you also want to have product category on there. Maybe you want to have the supplier. Could be that you need to sort the products by who supplies it. Let's do another dimension as well. So we go back and choose entity, and let's do dim employee. And again, here we can add the primary key, which will be the business key of that dimension. Let's do employee ID. You can choose to name the business keys just like they are in the source system, but for this fictive case, we don't know the source system. Then let's add some attributes here as well. We can pick name, and here is full name, because it doesn't make sense to sort things on the first name of an individual employee, because then you just get your facts grouped by everybody who's called Sophie, or group your facts by everyone called Demetrius. Doesn't make sense. So this would be the full name, and then you can drill down to an individual employee. Maybe you also want here the title, so you want to be able to sort people based on whether or not they're sales representative or senior sales representative. Maybe you also want to be able to filter based on unit, like the departmental unit. So department, maybe you have that for employee as well. Let's do one more. Let's do here store, dim store. So this is an individual store. Maybe in the case of Bilka, you can have the different stores be the ones in Aarhus, the ones in Copenhagen, the ones in Horsens. And for this, this one also has a store ID. So let's add store ID as the primary key on here. Somehow I highlighted it with green. Yeah, it's because of the search thing. So I'm just gonna ignore that. Then add more attributes on this. Maybe we have the city which the store is located in. Maybe we have the region the store is located in, and maybe we also have the country. Maybe we also have a type. So for example, if you know this Føtex in Denmark, then there are the regular ones and Føtex food. So maybe there's a different type of store. Now, if you hover over any of the dimensions and you click this little icon, you can pull it towards the fact sales table, and it generates a foreign key relationship to the dim store. Same if you click the white space, hover over this one, you can now pull it again, and it generates now a foreign key relationship on the dim product ID, with the product ID being the foreign key relationship to the fact sales table. And similarly, if you pull here from dim employee, it generates the same. Now, in a typical dimensional model, and this is almost always the case, every individual row in the fact sales table is uniquely identified by its combination of foreign keys to the different dimensional tables. So it doesn't need an ID in and of itself in most cases. You will see during this semester that that is not necessarily always the case. When it comes to implementing the dimensional model for the Northwind case, which is the main track source system in this course, we will return to that in the next session. But now I want to show you how you can take this diagram and turn it into a diagram in a UML style. So if you head up into Tools, and under ER diagram, you can click Convert ER model to UML model. So go ahead and do that and click Create. Then go ahead and click this one. And as you can see, there's a bit of cleaning up here. So if I click this relationship, sorry, this one, and I go into association and B, I can change, oh no, association and A, I can change this composite into none, and I can go ahead and do the same for this one. So blah, 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 association and A, composite none, and I can do the same for this one, association and A, and change composite into none. And as you can see, all the partial primary keys that I had on my fact sales have disappeared. So I need to go back and put them in. If I pull this, it should, I'm sorry. If I go ahead and click this and pull it in, it should show up. But since it's not a PK, but PPK, so partial primary key, I can change it into PPK. Maybe I can even change the order here so it shows on the top, because that looks nice. I do the same for this one. Oh, I'm not very good at this, doing it live. Excuse me. And the same for this one. You can go and pull that as well. There is probably an easier way than this, but yeah, I go ahead and change it into PPK, and the same for this one. Do that for PPK as well. And then these identifying, let's change that to has, because a fact sales has a dim product, and that has as well. And that has as well. Identifying is also correct, since the fact sales is defined by its combined keys to all the other dimensions. Then go ahead and delete that, go ahead and delete that, and go ahead and delete that. And if you're happy here with the cardinality, just go ahead and leave it at that. But you might want to change it for something, so consider them thoroughly.